What is going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm Brandon. This is Extreme Daily Drivers. Thanks so much for stopping by the garage. I got a good one for you today. This is a long time coming. Today we're going to be replacing our rear diff cover with an upgraded one that's going to be way beefier and hold more fluid. The diff cover is from Fabworks. I'll put a link down in the description. If you have the 12 bolt rear end like I do, this is the only diff cover you can get. If you have the 10 bolt rear cover, then you can get anything you want. ARB makes one. There are all sorts of options. So for you guys who have Quadra Drive 2, this video is for you. For everybody else, you guys are lucky, man. You got all sorts of awesome options for your rear diff cover. But in today's video, it doesn't matter if you have the 10 bolt or the 12 bolt. Removal, installation, fluids, it's all gonna be the same. So let's get to it. Let me show you what I got laid out here on the driveway. We got our 7540 gear oil. We have our Mopar limited slip additive. We have a fluid extractor. I haven't used this yet. I had a really cheap previous one that leaked and made a giant mess, so I replaced it with this one. We're gonna try that out today. We got some red RTV silicone to go around the diff cover, a rag, and here is the diff cover. Now this diff cover actually looks super cool when you get it. I'll put a picture up here of what it looks like, and I really like the way it looked. So what I initially did is I put a clear coat for like an engine paint clear coat over it, and it looked great. I was gonna leave it just like that. However, sitting around my garage for like a year, I wound up ruining the clear coat by getting some mineral spirits on it by accident. So the area I ruined was actually right here. So to cover it up, I thought I'd put a sticker and then re-clear everything, and it would look fine. However, when I applied that clear coat the second time around, I don't know what happened, but it actually like ghosted. Do you see that there? That's like what the whole thing looked like, this weird kind of ghosting. So I don't know what happened. So for the third time, I taped this sticker off and I went ahead and painted the whole thing black. So that's what we got. It's a boring color, I know, but this is what we're running with. Let's get underneath the car and get that old diff cover off. So here's the OEM diff cover. Again, the 12 bolt. And nothing really wrong with this thing other than it being incredibly thin. Just getting my finger on the outside of it, I can tell just how thin it is. So we got here, there's no drain bolt on this. This is a fill hole. So I'm going to pull this rubber cap off here and then use the extractor and pull as much fluid out as I can, so that when I actually take all the bolts off and pull this off, it doesn't just come like, you know what I mean? I want to get as much fluid out of there as I can before, that way I can minimize the drips and possible mess that I'll make. Well, let's see how this works. Get this down in there as deep as I can get it. Just pull back. Yep. Scary. I feel like it's gonna go flying everywhere. All right, for the moment, I got rid of that extractor. I'm not gonna say it doesn't work. What I am gonna say is I was getting serious flashbacks of the last time I used the cheap one I had, and it literally made an enormous mess all over the garage floor. So I'm actually in a driveway today because the Jeep doesn't fit in the garage, and I don't want the same thing to happen. So we're skipping the extractor. We're gonna do this kind of like how everybody does it, and that is undo the bolts, leave the one at the top connected, and as we pry the pan out, the fluid will come out towards the bottom, and then we can take that top bolt off and pull the pan off. There we go. Yep, that's how normal people do it. So check it out. Here's our rear diff. I don't know about you, it looks fine to me. I'm actually really impressed too with how clean this cover came off, because there's not a ton of glue or RTV for me to scrape off. So that's awesome news. That's going to speed things up. So I wanted to show you guys real quick the difference between these two covers. This is actually super thin, and this is indestructible. And also, I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I think, that the actual Fabworks cover holds more fluid. More fluid is better, and it's so freaking beefy, man. It's hard to tell, but the Fabworks one has a higher or thicker backing plate to it. So, yeah. Big difference between these two. All right, so the diff is basically finished draining. You have to have the whole area, the perimeter around the diff, totally clean and dry. To make sure it's clean and dry, I'm gonna use this alcohol to make sure that that mating surface is totally dry. I'm gonna use the same thing on the new diff cover too. So we're gonna be applying this red RTV silicone. This is high temp. This is what you need if you're using it on a diff cover. And this stuff is fast working. And it's kind of weird. You put it on, you install the diff, get it hand tight, the bolts hand tight, and then you let it sit for an hour. Then afterwards you come back and torque all the bolts down, and then you wait 24 hours to put your fluids in. So if you guys are doing this, make sure you're not doing it at, like, I don't know, noon, and need your car by 4 p.m. or something like that, right? You're gonna need the RTV to have time to set up. Otherwise, you're probably gonna have some leaks. So let me get everything wiped down. Let me get this stuff applied. And then I'm also going to show you a little trick to align your diff cover onto the back of the differential. So this is the top. You want to start your bead at the top because it's probably the least place it's gonna leak, right? You want to keep a constant bead all the way around the perimeter. So here's the trick to guiding the differential cover on without smearing the RTV. It's chopsticks. That's right, you get some chopsticks from your local Chinese restaurant and use these as guides through the bolt holes to slide on the diff cover. So we got the diff cover all cleaned up, all old RTV's been removed with a razor blade. I got the chopsticks installed. Hopefully they'll help guide this on. I do have a challenge ahead of me. I have this thick rear bar here. It's thicker than stock and it doesn't get in the way. I mean, I can maneuver the thing around it, but it's close quarters. All right, got them all finger tight. That was super stressful. I hate dealing with stuff that can smear and make a mess. I think we did all right. One thing I'm a little bit concerned about, as it did say in the instructions, is as you tighten this, you'll see it start coming out the sides. I have not seen that yet, but I've only done it hand tight. So we're gonna let this sit for an hour, then we're gonna come out and torque all these bolts down. All right, guys, it's been an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and torque these down to like 12 foot-pounds of torque or something like that, very little, in a crisscross pattern. And then tomorrow we'll go ahead and put the fluid in. All right, it's the next day. Time to add the gear oil and the limited slip additive. So I don't know how well it's showing up, but we have a little bit of a stream coming out here. When I stick my finger in there, I can feel the oil level. So we're good here. Time to put the little cap on and be finished with this job. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. New diff cover on the old Jeep Commander. That thing is ready for some serious pounding once we get this thing off-road. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Later.